Next Step Steering Committee and Town Hall Planning Meeting. I want to appreciate everybody coming out on this fine Saturday morning. This is definitely the beginning of fall. You can tell, I see a lot of jackets, a lot of sweaters. So this is the first time I've had this coat on this year. It looks to be a great time of the year for the season and the temperature change. So I want to thank everybody for getting up this morning and coming out and joining us here at this town hall meeting. We also want to thank Orchard Knob Baptist Church. They're the gracious people who allowed us to come in here today. We were hoping to see a lot of people come out, and we thought that this space would be large enough to accommodate all of us. So we want to thank Orchard Knob Baptist Church for allowing us to use this facility. My name is Ken Smith. My name is Ken Smith. I am the president of the Avondale Neighborhood Association. And I want to just get started by introducing a couple of people, get a couple of introductions out of the way. Today we have with us today our councilman for District 8, Councilman Anthony Byrd here with us this morning. He's instrumental in helping us formulate this process. We also have the Town Hall Planning Committee. If members for the Town Hall Planning Committee, would you please stand? They are neighborhood leaders from the East Chattanooga area. Stand please. They are the ones that help us put this program on today. They are representing neighborhoods from Avondale, Churchville, Glenwood, Boyd Station, Glass Farms, Willow Avenue, Neighborhood Watch, and Riverside Drive. I'm making sure I got everybody. And Orchard Knob. Those are neighborhood associations now. If you are in those neighborhoods, and I'll say them again, Avondale, Boyd Station, Churchville, Orchard Knob, Glass Farms, Riverside Drive, Willow Avenue, Neighborhood Watch, and Glenwood.
And Lincoln Park.
If you are in those neighborhoods, please make an effort to try to attend the neighborhood association meetings that they have each month. You will get a wealth of information about what's going on in your neighborhood. You'll get a wealth of information on what's going on in the surrounding community of East Chattanooga. So make it a point to attend those meetings. If you don't know when, you can see me afterwards and we can tell you what days and what times they do meet. But it's important that you get involved in your neighborhood association. Today you're going to get a good idea of what's going on with the Harriet Tubman site. That's what we're here to do and talk about today. Some of you have already heard on the news and in the newspaper about what the new plant that's coming here, the Nippon Paint Company. It's a Japanese-based organization that is planning to build a $61 million plant right here in our communities. So we want to talk to you today and get information from you today about what that's going to look like and what you need to do as far as next step to help us get that process going. So what I'm going to do right now is just ask you to come in, relax, get comfortable. We're going to be having there's a lot of information going on. We're going to give you an opportunity to interact with us. But we're going to try to inform you too as to what's going on, what are the next steps for you to do. So at this point, I'm going to bring up Austin Sarah Bryan, who's going to fill you in on what we're going to be doing next.
Thank you so much. So my name is Austin Sauerbrei, and I'm with the Chattanooga Area Labor Council. Several months ago, the neighborhood association leaders asked me to sort of help support getting a town hall community meeting together, so that's sort of been my role in the process. So before I go over the agenda, actually let me see if I can, this clicker works here. Oh, nice, it does. All right, so before I go over the agenda, I just want to give a little bit of a background and a context. So as most folks in the room likely know, as Ken just noted last month, the city announced plans for 29 acres of the former Tubman site to be donated to Nippon Paint Company, with the remainder of the site being held for potential future commercial and residential development. And we'll hear more about that from the city soon. But also as background, we also want to acknowledge in the room that we know there are mixed feelings. There have been mixed feelings in the community about leading up to that decision. But for today and for right now, we really want to focus on how do we make sure that this development that's coming in, that Nippon Paint, that we're working together, that the community is doing what they need to do, that Nippon's doing what they need to do to make sure that there's actually good jobs coming to East Chattanooga, and that this is a beneficial, good project for the community. So Nippon Paint has stated that they're very interested in working with the community to make sure that East Chattanoogans have access to new jobs and to help spur positive economic development in the future. So there's so many exciting possibilities with this development, but we know that positive outcomes will require clear commitments from both Nippon and for folks in the East Chattanooga community to make sure that there's well-defined pathways to employment and there's ongoing community partnership and engagement. And so this requires a clear, accountable community leadership at the table with Nippon, really working out, again, what the community can do and what Nippon can do to make sure this is a positive development. So for the past several months, East Chattanooga Neighborhood Association leaders and other community allies, city officials, have tried to develop a clear, accountable process to make sure that those productive discussions with Nippon happen in a structured and transparent way. And so that brings us to today. So before I go over the detailed agenda, the primary focus of today is going to be about gaining your input for the specific ideas about what we as a community can do and to engage Nippon in this process as the development continues. We know that there's going to be future development on the remainder of the site. That's not what the discussion today is going to be about. Today is specifically going to be zoned in and focused on Nippon. And making sure, again, that productive discussions can happen in a transparent way. So the goals are, number one, make sure that everyone is informed and up to date on the development so far. Number two, explain the process that East Chattanooga neighborhood leaders have come up with for making sure that there's clear, accountable community voice at the table. Number three, we want to help make sure this body fleshes out the ideas and questions that the leadership needs to bring to Nippon. And number four, make sure that you know how to stay involved and engaged moving forward. Does that sound all right, those four key goals?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, Nippon development is in the very beginning stages, and today is not going to be about a bunch of folks coming and telling you the answers. Today is going to be about learning the development process so far, and then having an opportunity for you all to discuss and give input. And so, into the agenda. So, we've done the welcome. I'm doing the agenda right now. Point number 3 is introduction of the Tubman Opportunity Steering Committee. So Avondale and other neighborhoods near the Tubman site have formed a 7-member steering committee that's charged with gaining community voice and bringing those community voice to the table with Nippon. So in a minute, Ken's going to explain who that steering committee is. And next, we'll have updates and history of the Tubman development. So we have Sharita Allen from the Office of Economic and Community Development and Charles Wood from the Chamber to give a presentation about what's happened with development so far and what the status is right now. So then after that, we're going to share neighborhood canvassing results. Through the canvassing and community meetings, residents have identified several big themes or issues related to the Tubman development that we want to dig into. And so Fred will be sharing a little bit about the canvassing that was done. And next, clarifying key issues in the process. Quentin's going to come up and sort of break down the process that each Chattanooga neighborhood leaders have developed to help ensure that the community has a real voice at the table with Nippon. And then he'll talk about next steps. And then after that is your part. So diving deeper. We're actually going to have an opportunity to ask, the steering committee has come up with some key questions that we want to dive deeper on, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to supply feedback to make sure that the steering committee has marching orders of what they need to bring to Nippon in their discussion with Nippon. And then the next steps will outline how you and your community can stay involved and up to date as the development moves forward. So before I hand the mic off back to Ken, just final thoughts. Today is not a Q&A session. So when the cities, when Sharita and Charles come up to explain, it's not a Q&A session. It's a time for you to give input. So we'll hear from the city, and then there will be a time for you to give input at the latter half of the agenda. And really, we want to walk out of this meeting having accomplished those goals and making sure that we actually have some clear next steps. So we need y'all's help in staying focused on the agenda. Does that sound okay? All right, well, I'm going to hand it off to Ken to introduce the steering committee.
Thank you, Austin. As he just mentioned, we're going to have a steering committee. Let me explain to you our thought process behind that. We knew that we wanted this to be a community-led discussion. So we said, well, let's get input from the community, the East Chattanooga community. And those neighborhoods that I called out, the members are mainly from East Chattanooga, of the steering committee. So the steering committee, the job is to be your agent. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be your agent. So whatever you tell us we need to do, that's what we'll do. Okay? So, if you would, the steering committee members, if you could come up, and we will introduce each one of you so that the people will know who you are. And if you have any questions, you can direct them to us. It's made up of 7 members, one of which was not able to be with us today. She is out of town. These 7 members, we are mainly made up of either presidents of your association, you either have a business or have an interest or an organization in this area. So, like I said, this is a community-led committee. We want to make sure that all of the people in East Chattanooga, you can hear your voices, and this is a representative sample from that community. So, starting with me, my name again is Ken Smith. I am the president of the Avondale Neighborhood Association. I will chair this committee, and we will work together to try to bring the best possible development to that site that we can think of. With your help, we're going to make this a wonderful project. We're going to see some positive results from this development.
Hello, I am Johnny Ware. I am the president of Churchville Neighborhood Association and also a part of the steering committee. And we do have an awesome group, and we are here for you, and we're looking for you to make sure that you get the input back to us.
My name is Fred Flack. I'm a resident of Boy Station Neighborhood Association area. We're in transition at the moment as an association. If I have one message I always repeat after every meeting we ever had, and it was talk to your neighbors. That's the one way to get a clear voice from the community.
My name is Quentin Lawrence. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of Hope for the Inner City. And as Ken has already alluded to, we're here to serve you. So we certainly appreciate you being here, and we value your input. And we're going to do everything we can to represent you the best way possible.
Yes, my name is Sylvester Harris. I'm from Boyd Station. I live in East Chattanooga since I was 15, and I've seen East Chattanooga prosper pretty good, but then I've seen a decline of things happen. So now I'm on this committee because I want to try to make East Chattanooga be what it used to be. Bring it back up, bring the businesses back up, employ the people, be here for the people. And I'm not going to be what the city tells me to do, I'm going to be what the neighborhood wants us to do. but I wish we would have had a lot more younger people. But we're gonna have to be ready. When this transition comes, we're gonna have to be ready, because they're not gonna wait on us. When it comes, we need to be ready for them waiting on us to come in and employ these jobs. Thank you for listening.
My name is Randy Jackson. I'm the pastor of Miracle Missionary Baptist Church, and everybody said everything and left me nothing to say. Amen. Don't let that out on Sundays. I have nothing to say, but we're happy and excited to be a part of the process.
And the member that I told you that was unable to be with today, her name is Miss Geraldine Henley, and she's with the Willow Avenue Neighborhood Watch, and she will also serve as secretary of the group. There are officers in this group, and we have just mentioned we've got Quentin Lawrence as the vice chair, Miss Henley is the secretary, and Pastor Jacks is going to be a spokesperson for the group. So if you guys have any questions, we are here, as I said before, to try to work through you to bring the best possible project to this area that we can. And we will take your information, whatever this community wants, we'll take that information and then we will translate it so that we can get the plant or the company, Nippon Paint, to work with us and bring it about. And that's kind of how we will work with it, but it's not going to work unless we get your input. We need your input. So if you please attend those neighborhood association meetings that I was telling you about, because we will be in close contact, or the meetings that we have them every other Thursday. They're held right now at the Hope for the Inner City. They're held at 1 o'clock. Every other Thursday. So the next meeting that you'll be able to attend for us is November the 7th. It's open to the public. You can come in and hear us talking and discussing matters. And if there is information that you'd like to share with us, we have an email account. It's called TubmanOpportunitySC@gmail.com. It's written down in your flyer, in your agenda. If there are questions you want to send us or concerns that you have, please email us that, and we will try to interpret that and get back with you with an answer. So, thank you all. So right now, we're going to, as I also told you, it's a presentation. The city has done a fantastic job in helping to recruit this company to Chattanooga. It was a long process. It began at City Council when we started to talk about what we did not want here. I had a theory that with all the development downtown, the chicken house was going to have to move. And we had the space over there for a plant to come in. So we all, and that was just a theory of mine. It was never true. It never happened. But it was just something I said, well, we need to get a grasp on this. We need to figure out what we would like to see at this site. So in working with the city and the council people, they came up with a lot of conditions. Some of you may remember that we had to get zoning done. We had to get the zone right. We also have to do a couple of upgrades to the site. And that was a long process. And the city did a lot of work to try to bring the right tenant to the area. So they're going to go over and tell us a little bit about that process and how they went through and how did we get from the time when we decided that Tubman site should be raised and where we are today. So, Sharita Allen from the Department of Economic and Community Development.
Let's see, I'll need a different presentation. And it's the one that has the city seal on it, with the blue and white background as the first slide.
I think you got to click it back.
There we are. Thank you, thank you. Good morning, Sherita Allen, Deputy Administrator, Economic Development. And so what I will go over today is, in economic development, kind of what we call the anatomy of a project. And so that's a little hard to read, but it's essentially bringing jobs to Tubman has been a 6-year redevelopment process. And we divided it into, if you think about it, 2 different phases. So phase 1 really and truly was site acquisition, site demolition, clearing it, sort of getting it ready, making it a greenfield to bring jobs to it. And so if you look at 2013 is when the neighborhood association, and Ken alluded to that, when members of the community went to the mayor, and all this predates me, went to the mayor and said, you know, we want something done about crime and blight. We want something done with this. And so essentially the mayor decided, in working with the Chattanooga Housing Authority and other groups, to acquire the Tubman site to prevent it from going into sort of a private low-income development. And so that process went through City Council. Obviously, City Council had to authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement to purchase the site. And we have a Reconnect page, a Tubman Connect page, that's part of the city. And what we did was we put this sort of timeline on a website with hyperlinks so that when we talk about acquisition of the site, you click on the hyperlink and it will show you the resolution, how much that was. If there were change orders, you click on change order and it shows you what the change orders were. When it talks about hiring local residents to help with some of the demolition and reclamation of some of the bricks, you click on that, it will show you what those costs were associated with that. So again, the first phase was really acquisition, going through all of that. It was then demolition, it was then reclamation, and then it was sort of clearing the site. And so that process really was from 2013 to 2015. So we call that an economic development through the phase 1. We've got to get it ready. No one's going to be interested in the site if it's got the old boarded up buildings on it. It doesn't show well, as we say, in economic development. So we've got to clear it out, get it ready for development. So that was a 3-year process. And then we move into sort of, okay, it's cleared, we've got the buildings off, we're ready to go. For 2 years, there was no interest in the site. Again, it was zoned at that time residential. So it's zoned R1, R3, and R4. No interest in the site for 2 years. So from an economic development standpoint at that point, in partnership with the chamber, we decided we needed a new strategy to make something happen on that site. So again, residents vacated in 2012, 3 years to kind of go through the demolition clearing process, and then 2 years where it just kind of sat, nothing happened. And so we decided that we wanted to go for site certification for this particular project. And so at that point, we're looking at roughly 44 acres, no interest in it, it's zone residential. We want to bring something industrial for jobs to the site. How do we make that happen? And so the state of Tennessee has a program that's a site development grant program. So economic development in partnership with the chamber, and the chamber is our partner on the sort of attraction, recruitment, retention. We fund the chamber to a certain extent to help with some of that outreach to bring jobs into the city. So we met with chamber representatives and said, what do we need to do to make this attractive to bring a serious prospect to the site? So we decided that our strategy was going to be site development. So if you look at this image, that's actually a screen capture from the state of Tennessee certified site list. And it's 2017. And so in 2017, in July when I started, I just did a screen capture and I said, these are all the certified sites in the state of Tennessee. And we're losing prospects to all of these different areas because when companies are interested in expanding, they look for certified sites. Certified sites have all of the sort of environmental done, you know what the infrastructure is, the zoning's in place, everything's ready to go, which means it's cheaper for them to do their site development because all of those studies have been completed. They know where the streams are. At that point, they know whether there are any protected species they've got to worry about. They can sort of come in, put together their development timeline, and get ready to build. So our goal in 2017, in looking at this, and if you look, there's sort of a void where Hamilton County is. We did not have any certified sites. So we wanted to be one of those little yellow dots that was a certified site. So we started going through that process. We spoke with the local representatives, and we said, okay, this is our strategy. Now, part of applying to be a certified site, you have to make application to the state. We decided to make application to the state, and they want to know, is the zoning in place? Which is what led to the rezoning of the site to M1. They want to know, is the infrastructure in place? Which led to the conversations around making an allocation available to move the sewer. And they want to know that all the environmental studies have been completed. So we applied for and received a matching grant. Essentially, $100,000 matching grant. So the city put up $100,000, and then the state matches $100,000. So we had $200,000 to get the site ready for a project. And that process we started in late 2017. We were notified in 2018 that we were approved and we received the grant. And then we started the process to kind of get the site ready. So now we're in phase 2. We're doing sort of what you would do if you're going to sell your house. You're getting it ready so that people are going to be interested in it. And then they also know what they're getting when they get the site. So that's kind of where we were. And then this next slide, this is a 2019 screen capture, and I think I did this one in October. So again, we've gone from 2017, all of those little yellow dots are certified sites throughout the state, and we're losing out to all of those places. And then you go to 2019, and the red ones are the ones that were sold. So those are companies that moved in all across the state while we were getting our site ready for a project to come in. Again, our goal was to be one of those little yellow dots, and eventually to be a little red dot that would say we're certified as a site, and now we're sold as a site. And so what we discovered as we started going through this process was that when we received the grant, we started, it was marketed on a state level. So all of a sudden the state became aware of this site. And then site selectors became aware of this site. They knew it wasn't ready, but they knew we were getting it ready. So we started to attract a lot of attention. Community engagement. This one's hard to see. And so when I took over this project, I inherited it from my predecessor. And so one of the first things I started to do was schedule meetings with neighborhood associations and community groups to get a feel for kind of what do we want to see happen, what are your thoughts about this site? And so it's difficult to see, but starting in September of 2017, and it was a District 9 forum, that was the first time I publicly said, we are going to actively work towards bringing jobs to the site. And I heard very loudly, very clearly, we don't want a chicken plant, and we want a technical school on the site. And so I then proceeded to have a number of other meetings with other groups. And so it runs gamut from Glass House Collective, you've got Boy Station, Glass Farms, we had RPA staff, kind of goes through area plans, we had a neighborhood leadership roundtable. So again, a number of meetings over 18 months to sort of get a feel for what's the community interested in and how does the community really feel about this site. And I know Austin referred to it, we heard a little bit of everything across the board. And so some of the bold ones that I have in blue here, the bold ones are the items that we heard loudly and clearly over and over and over again. And so again, it was no chicken plant. We had people that wanted jobs on the site. We had people that didn't want jobs on the site. We had people that wanted the full site to be all jobs. We had people that wanted mixed uses on the site. So we heard a little bit of everything. And in economic development, what happens is you get to a point where you have to decide, do we do nothing because there's not consensus in the community, or do we do something, trying to find that middle of the road, that middle ground? And that's kind of how we got here, recognizing that some people in the community were upset with us because we talked about putting housing on the site. But some people were upset with us because we talked about putting jobs on the site. And so we had to find sort of that happy medium that would get us to a project that was acceptable to the community, that met most of the community's needs, but recognizing that a company had to be aware of all of the different dynamics going on. And so we started looking at, okay, what do we eliminate based on what the company says the community says it doesn't want, and then what kind of companies do we seriously start to entertain? Okay. And so this is where, again, once we the state said, okay, there might be a site coming online in Hamilton County at some point soon that's going to be certified. The state started sending prospects to us. We had real estate brokers that started sending prospects to us, keeping in mind, they all said, okay, let us know when you're going to get the site ready, and then let's go from there. So we had everything from commercial acre, we had a steel service company, we had a corrugated cardboard manufacturer, heavy equipment attachment builder. I mean, these are the companies that actively called about or toured the site and were interested. Again, keeping in mind, when we rezoned the site, there were conditions put on it. So some of those companies were eliminated because they didn't meet the conditions. And we said to them, you can apply for a variance, it's unlikely that you would get approved for it. And some of those we said were just not a good fit for the community because it's in a neighborhood. It's right smack in the middle of the community. So we started to kind of eliminate all of those, some of those. And then again, we had like an architectural firm locally that was like, we'd like to build a building, we'd like 5 acres. And so then again, from an economic development standpoint, at what point do you start sort of chopping up the site, or do you keep large parcel and anchor tenant and then leave the rest for redevelopment? So again, economic decisions that we have to make, keeping in mind, we're going back to, these are the things the community said it wanted, but these are also the things the community said it didn't want, and trying to balance out all of those different community needs. And so we ended up with Nippon Paint USA, Japanese company. We had a Chinese company look at the site. We had 3 American companies. We had 2 companies from out west that were interested in the site. And we felt like, just from the Nippon Paint has other factories that are in neighborhoods, they're in communities, they're accustomed to working in neighborhoods, as opposed to other companies that were used to being in an industrial park. This is not an industrial park. And so some of those sort of eliminated themselves from the conversation. But again, this was just sort of looking at what the community wanted, the prospects that came to the table, recognizing that we could do nothing or we could do something. And how do we do something, keeping in mind the community wants and desires and balancing all of those things. And so that's kind of how we got to Nippon. And this is the last slide of my presentation. And then I think we're going to have Charles talk a little bit about the paint company. But what's important to recognize is we feel like we found a great company based upon the feedback we heard from the community. From an economic development standpoint, would I personally have liked for it to all have been in one? Sure, that's not what the community wanted. So now, how do you find a manufacturer that recognizes the community wants something next to them that's not another manufacturer? It's there's a delicate balance there. And so Charles is going to talk a little bit about the company, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Thanks, Rita. And there's another presentation. Jermaine gave it to you, so that's the one. And yeah, as I'm sitting back there, I know I'm getting old because I can barely read it even when I'm standing up close. So bear with me.